Hey guys, just Matt here. Just going to shoot a quick video for you after getting some questions from a couple of readers. Actually, I've had a few questions about this previously. Obviously, I've explained it. So, what I wanted to do is keep this as short as I can. Okay, my goal was 2 minutes, but that's just not going to happen. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through it in a little bit more detail, but I'm still going to try and keep it fairly short. Okay, so the thing is, it's all about cellulite. Okay, now. For one reason or another, okay, this seems to happen more and more prevalently, okay, in people who eat processed foods and don't train. So what I'm going to do is attempt to explain why it happens, how you can do, and what you can do about it. Okay, so the reason why it tends to happen is that the collagen fibers become weakened. Okay, and what happens is when those collagen fibers become weakened, okay, the fat underneath them kind of pushes them up, changes their shape, and the skin gets pulled down, which is what creates the dimples. Okay, that fat, like I say, is trapped. Tends to be in the lower body, mainly because that's where a lot of the alpha receptors are. So those of you who've watched some of my videos before and read some of my articles on this will know that I've talked about anti-estrogenic foods and talked about the benefits of cruciferous vegetables to help with that. So the alpha receptors tend to be on the outside of the thighs, around the hips for the ladies, and back of the upper arms as well. So that's where we tend to get most of the problems. What we need to really do is we need to start reducing the impact of insulin. Now, insulin is a fat storage hormone, okay, and that's the first thing we need to do. So it's all like about blood sugar regulation and trying to prevent or trying to reduce the amount of insulin that's kind of roaming free in our system, okay. The other thing we need to do is reduce cortisol. Now, cortisol is a stress hormone, okay. It's not all bad, actually. We need it to help with the brain, okay, and the brain needs it to function. But what it does do is it leads to increased water retention, okay, particularly around the middle, because it's a stress hormone. So you'll see, like, not just ladies but guys will tend to have big bellies. You can kind of tell their cortisol levels are high, caused by stress, which comes in all different forms. So first thing you need to do, right? There's no two ways about it. You need to burn the fat, okay? Without burning the fat, that's kind of always going to be there. None of these steps can be actually excluded. You need to do all of them together to get the result you want. Okay, so you need to burn the fat. Strengthen collagen fibers. Now, vitamin C really helps with this. That's why a lot of people who have high blood pressure tend to have high blood pressure, because the collagen fibers that kind of give the strength to the arterial wall actually become slack and weak, okay, which, as you can imagine, decreases the size of the arterial space and leads to high blood pressure. So going back to cellulite, you need to do that because collagen fibers become weak, and then that's how the skin gets pulled into the dimples. Okay. Then you need to increase blood flow and circulation to help reduce the appearance of cellulite. Okay, and unfortunately, what happens is the water that gets trapped in these little pockets caused by the weakened collagen fibers doesn't always get out. So it gets in, but it doesn't always get out. So you need to help that process. You need to do that. One of the ways you can do that is with magnesium, which is why we recommend to all of our clients about supplementing with magnesium. Obviously, they all get advice on that as well, but that's one thing that we do recommend. You then need to strengthen and tighten the muscles through training. Now, this can be done through high-intensity intervals. It can be done through high-intensity resistance training and also strength training as well. So, and not to exclude the sort of longer, slower stuff as well. But when we're really looking to be as efficient as we can with this, that's the way we need to go. In terms of your nutrition, you need to start reducing carbs generally, not excluding them, just reducing them. Okay, because a lot of the hormones that we're talking about, so insulin, cortisol, thrive when we're eating sugary foods. So we need to start thinking a little bit more cleverly about where we eat our carbohydrates and when we eat them. Okay, so it's not to exclude them altogether, and like you can kind of eat within reason as much of the green leafy vegetables as you want, the cruciferous ones as well, because they have such a good fat burning effect. In terms of reducing anything else, what you really need to do now is to sort of avoid your processed foods and the foods that are kind of highly toxic, because what they do is they tend to, if you imagine like a glass of Ribena, it's very toxic if you only have like a small amount. Like, you wouldn't do that, so you dilute it. And this is what happens when toxins get into our body. They actually get in and they cause water retention. Okay, so when they're sugary and they're toxic, that's what we do. We tend to dilute the pollution. Okay. So green tea extract's very, very good. Helps speed up metabolism, but also the magnesium will help speed up detoxification by helping drive out the toxins in the system. You need to be looking at foods that are kind of high in what we call bioflavonoids. Okay, they tend to be colourful. They help reduce damage from free radicals and prevent cell damage. Now, if you think about what happens to the cells we just talked about, weakened collagen fibers, like the last thing you want really when you're trying to get rid of cellulite is to have more damage. So you need to help reduce the free radical damage by eating colourful foods. So things such as berries are very, very good. Bell peppers, those kind of things. Even cranberry juice, kind of watered down a little bit, is good. Curcumin spice, which actually is an anti-inflammatory, and also will help with ridding cellulite. Vitamin C supplements, as we mentioned earlier with the collagen, very, very useful. And also celery as well, okay, because that will naturally help with the hormones that we're trying to improve. So that's your kind of food stuff. What I would then suggest you do is you need to foam roll, right? We need to foam roll the legs a lot. We need to foam roll the whole body to help with this. The lymphatic system relies heavily on the foam rolling when we're doing this, and it also relies heavily on movement as well. So we need to help with the lymphatic system to help get rid of toxins. So foam rolling is a bit like self-massage. If you've watched any of my stuff before, you'll know I've actually got a video of how to foam roll on YouTube. The other thing which we're just about to invest in at the studio is an infrared sauna. Okay, now I've been doing a lot of research on infrared saunas, and one of the key benefits really of this is detoxification. It helps expand the tissue, heats up the tissue, and massively improves detoxification. But what it is good because it doesn't overheat the body. Okay, so more people can tolerate it and get the benefits from it. The other thing that I'd recommend doing is I often get laughed at by clients for wearing my compression tights in the studio when coaching, and the reason I wear them is because they help with blood flow. Okay, but I'd also recommend wearing them during training as well, because obviously you're trying to drive blood into that area and improve circulation. I'd recommend wearing them during your strength training as well. Now, in terms of training, for those of you who already know, okay, about training, I'm sure most of you know about this anyway, but the high intensity interval training, sort of something like 30 seconds on, 15 seconds off, 4 to 6 times tends to be pretty good, or 20 seconds on, 10 seconds off. You know, there's different ways, there's many different ways to catch a fish, but these kind of short intervals tend to work very, very well. The strength training, we tend to use like kind of bigger sets. So we'll do like what we call complexes. So we'll do kettlebell complexes, we'll do barbell complexes, depending on and dumbbell complexes, depending on the skill level of our client, and obviously their training history as well. So we need to look at that. The other thing that we do is high intensity like resistance training. So we're looking at combining resistance exercises with high intensity bursts. So one of the things we like to do is we go like kind of an upper body pulling exercise, then we'll do something cardiovascular, then we'll do a lower body strength exercise followed by something cardiovascular, then we'll do an upper body pushing exercise followed by something cardiovascular, and then we'll do a core exercise followed by something cardiovascular. Okay, and that just helps with the hormones. Okay, it helps with the metabolic rate post training. Okay, provided our nutrition is spot on and our post training recovery is really amped as well. So I hope that helps you. The reason I shot this was obviously because I've had a few questions, and actually looking back over time, I've had many questions on this as well. So I thought I'd put this all together in a video for you, so you can now at least flick through this a few times and watch it back, so you can take some notes. All right, stay awesome. Take care.